Game 3 of the 2025 Stanley Cup Finals, Edmonton, Florida, was one of the least enjoyable hockey games I've ever watched. And listen, I've made no secret about the fact that I'm cheering for Edmonton, but really it wasn't that. Florida won Game 2, and it was incredibly fun. This was a slog in every single sense of the word. We'll get into that in a second, but on a more serious note, I do have something very personal I want to talk to you guys about. Two of my very close childhood friends, including one of my best friends, Mark, you may know him if you've watched any of the football channel, are going through something very difficult. Sophie recently learned she was pregnant, which is very exciting news. However, unfortunately, several weeks later, she was also diagnosed with breast cancer. She's very young, so it was quite a shock. It's obviously an extremely complex situation. Pregnancy is hard enough. Sophie will be dealing with chemo both during pregnancy and after the birth of her child. These are really good people. It's a very tough situation. Thankfully, medical costs in Canada are covered by the government, but there are still a ton of other expenses, and because of everything, Sophie's not working. She won't get maternal leave, so their family has set up a GoFundMe. Listen, I totally understand times are tough for a lot of people, but if you do have some extra money and you want to help out, these are two genuinely good people who could use some help. I will put a link down below, and I thank you very much for your time. All right, so after that, it may be dramatic to call the hockey game miserable, but you know what? It still was. I'm not even going to do a play-by-play breakdown of this one because I don't think it's necessary. This reminded me a lot of Florida's Game 7 victory over Toronto in the second round, where really things never were in dispute. That was only one reason why the game is so miserable. We'll get to the rest in a second. I will say though, unlike Toronto, Edmonton at least had a glimmer in the first, and I think Bobrovsky's performance is going to be overshadowed by everything else that went on, but there were a few key saves early on that I think kept this game lopsided. Obviously, the Panthers opened the scoring early. Who else but Brad Marchand a minute in. Then near the end of the first, Verhaeghe gets one on the PP that you probably want Skinner to have. The first, though, was just absolutely miserable. Edmonton played themselves out of this game. And I know Oilers fans, some have already messaged me, are going to say there's conspiracy against their team. But listen, 3 dumb penalties, which I think nearly objectively the refs had to call, certainly the latter two, in the first 10 minutes and 10 seconds. Evander Kane with a cross-check, then a high stick, then too many men. 6 minutes of penalties, then Arvidsson would also add on, just for fun, the goalie interference, which led to the second goal. Corey Perry would restore a little bit of hope for Edmonton fans in the second, but Sam Reinhart almost immediately, a minute and a half later, restored the 2-goal lead, and Florida never looked back. While I was feeling okay about Edmonton in the first, obviously they were down 2-0. They'd taken a ton of penalties, and Florida had gotten some good saves from Bobrovsky. After this point, Florida just dominated. And this is the other part that I think made this game kind of miserable, the hint that this could be what the rest of the series is like. Listen, Edmonton's led in this series for like 8 minutes. They scrounged out a Game 1 victory and nearly a Game 2 victory, largely due to the elite top-end talent they have, including Connor McDavid, obviously, Draisaitl, and Bouchard. McDavid still had a bit of spark this game, but he was being plugged up on the zone entries. Bouchard was okay. Draisaitl was completely invisible. And yeah, Florida tonight was the best any team has looked in this series by far. And really, Edmonton is a bounce away from being down again 3-0. Then we go into the third. It was complete and utter nonsense. Just the Oilers were trying to scrap it out with Florida, but Florida is better at this game and it just looked ineffectual. Stuart Skinner ended up being pulled heel out 5 on 23. Just a brutal game, and to make matters worse, we've got an extra day to think about it, because although it's obviously Florida's 2 home games, Game 4 for some reason isn't until Thursday. I know last time I did complain a little about the playoff scheduling, and I totally understand there needs to be 2 days when moving between cities, but it's just taking too long, especially the big gap between series as well. Anyway, Florida fans, I hope you don't take this personally. I know I am rooting against your team in the series, and that's annoying, but I will also say the other thing that was going to make this game miserable for fans of 31 teams in the NHL is that they look at this Florida roster and they wonder what's going to stop this next year. Sam Bennett's obviously the big piece this offseason. He's a UFA, but Florida's going to have cap room. I don't see why they wouldn't make an effort to re-sign him and why he also wouldn't want to stay with the team. There's Brad Marchand as well. I mean, who knows? Either way, just anyway, thanks for watching. Again, guys, there is that donation link in the description if you want to help. If not, I totally understand it, but I appreciate your guys' ears. I'll see you next time.